Plato's Closet in West Ashley and North Charleston are springing up cash. Just sell us your gently used warm weather styles like tees, shorts, sandals, and more. We're paying cash on the spot for gently used spring styles for guys and girls. Support sustainable fashion. This spring, do your thing and recycle the spring-inspired clothes, shoes, and accessories that are just hanging in your closet for cash on the spot. Let your spring clothes bloom into cash at Plato's Closet. Plato's Closet, located in West Ashley on Sam Rittenberg Boulevard and North Charleston on Rivers Avenue.
Talk of the town.
Plato's Closet in West Ashley and North Charleston are springing up cash. Just sell us your gently used warm weather styles like tees, shorts, sandals, and more. We're paying cash on the spot for gently used spring styles for guys and girls. Support sustainable fashion. This spring, do your thing and recycle the spring-inspired clothes, shoes, and accessories that are just hanging in your closet for cash on the spot. Let your spring clothes bloom into cash at Plato's Closet. Plato's Closet, located in West Ashley on Sam Rittenberg Boulevard and North Charleston on Rivers Avenue.
Steve Bakken, weekday mornings starting at 9 on Super Talk 1270 and the free Super Talk 1270 mobile app.
Portions of the following program are pre-recorded.
Talk of the town on Super Talk 1270.
Super Talk 1270. I'm Steve Bakken. Joining us on the program, of course, like we do each and every week, Lori Hintz from Beck News. You can go to beck.news. Follow all things Summit Carbon Solutions proposed CO2 pipeline. And some breaking news last Friday, Lori. PHMSA, they've actually at least have the framework for the PHMSA rules we've been all waiting for. And Lori, thanks for coming back on the program. What's your take of this?
This is really interesting, Steve. PHMSA, according to Ethanol Producer Magazine, they have an article that is titled, PHMSA Delivers Proposed Rule on Carbon Pipeline Safety to White House OMB. So PHMSA, or the Pipeline Hazardous Materials Safety Administration, has delivered a rule to the Office of Management and Budget of the White House, and they have given them this new rule on carbon pipeline safety. However, and we've been waiting on this for quite some time. However, it is not open to the public yet. So the OMB review marks the final stage before a proposed rule is actually released for public comment. So that is expected to happen sometime in March. I will read a little portion of this. Specifically, the Notice of Proposed Rulemaking, or NPRM, so we can have some more acronyms in our lives, is expected to amend PHMSA's pipeline safety regulations to adopt revisions that would enhance the safe transportation of carbon dioxide by pipelines to accommodate an anticipated increase in the number of carbon dioxide pipelines and volume of carbon dioxide transported. The NPRM is also expected to include requirements related to emergency preparedness and response for carbon dioxide. And that's what many safety concerns would be addressed in this PHMSA ruling. According to information published by the OMB, the NPRM is currently expected to be released for public comment in March, and additional information is available at the OMB website, they say. So that's big news.
So
that is something we've been waiting on for a very, very long time.
Well, and you and I had this conversation. We were kind of thinking it was going to be drug out into the summer, which it very well still could be by the time things are in place, because this sounds like a rough draft. Here's what we're proposing. Here's the rough draft. And after OMB gets done with it and mocking it up, then the White House is going to have an opportunity to go, yeah, that doesn't work for us, or this does, or, so whether it's true public safety or not, the White House has some influence with this for these CO2 sequester projects and the pipeline safety on this. So while this is the framework, this is the rough draft, we still have a ways to go before the rules are actually set in stone.
And also, it is released for public comment, which is going to mean that you've got at least 5 states worth of landowners and people who are going to want to make public comments on this too. So it is going to be it'll be fascinating, actually.
Oh, it'll be bigger than that. way more than 5 states, because I'm guessing, because if you've seen some of the blueprints of where some of these CO2 pipeline sequestration projects to get from one place to another, you take a look at a pipeline map of the United States, oil and gas and natural gas especially, this is getting close. So I'm sure there's going to be a lot more states that are watching what's going on in the upper Midwest with Summit and over in Illinois and some of these other projects. I'm sure the people down in Mississippi are probably going to want to chime in on this as well. So this could be a lengthy process. Did they give any indication of what that public comment period is going to look like? Because I can't see them doing it in less than a month.
No, I concur, and it will be interesting. I have seen articles about new projects popping up in places like Colorado and Wyoming as well. So you were right; it isn't just 5 states. That's just the beginning, and that's just the epicenter of the volume of information that I've been getting. But you are exactly right. It will probably not just be a month-long process. I mean, look at how long the IUB in Iowa had ended up having various public hearings and stuff. It was months and months and months, and far longer than they ever expected it to be, because there were just a volume of so many people who wanted to weigh in on it. So yes, this will be a drawn-out process, no question. There are people who have signed agreements with the pipeline companies, and they expected their timeline to be more in 2024. Now it is pushed back for Summit Carbon Solutions to 2025. And I dare say after these PHMSA things, it may very well be that it pushes it into 2026.
I know a lot of landowners just sign it as, it's a pipeline. It was sold as, it's just another pipeline. Okay, I've got a couple pipelines on my property, no big deal, until people started looking into the CO2 side of stuff, and it's a bigger deal than what they thought. I'm wondering if a lot of those easements that were signed, because there is a little push on the backside from Summit trying to get this done fast. I'm wondering if there's some timelines or some time constraints on project startup on some of those easements, because I would have a hard time believing somebody would just sign an easement that, okay, here's for your potential project, and it's forever. There's got to be a date on there for at least a startup. At least I would hope landowners looked into that before they signed a blanket easement or just any easement on their property. That's like, okay, but this is for this specific project, and there needs to be a start time and when it's going to be completed, or you're going to lose that easement. That would just be prudent on a landowner's part. What I'm also hearing from a lot of these other potential projects around some of these other states is they're all kind of sitting back going, okay, what's going to happen in North Dakota and South Dakota and Iowa? And there's a little bit of a wait and see, because there's a lot of attorney's fees, there's a lot of litigation, there's a lot of concern. And I think a lot of these other states and a lot of these other projects in these other states just don't want to go down that road until they have to.
Right. I would also suggest to you that, and you're right, with the timelines, things have already gone on for some time with this project. It actually, the PSC docket, if you look at it, the PSC docket originally is dated October 17th, 2022, and it is now January of 2024.
Pushed way back, yeah. Tell you what, Lori, we're up against a break. When we come back, I want to talk about the PSC and maybe some of that start time to where things are at right now and what's coming up on the PSC docket. We're talking with Lori Hintz, Beck News. You can go to beck.news if you want to find out all things that are going on with the proposed Summit Carbon Solutions CO2 pipeline running near Bismarck and through Burley and Emmons County and through the state of North Dakota, South Dakota, Iowa with that CO2 project. I'm going to throw Minnesota out just because Minnesota is kind of a collector line at this point, so not really a main trunk line, but we're going to talk about what that trunk line might look like as well as more and more ethanol plants are popping onto the project. This is Talk of the Town on Super Talk 1270.
Super Talk.
Plato's Closet in West Ashley and North Charleston are springing up cash. Just sell us your gently used warm weather styles like tees, shorts, sandals, and more. We're paying cash on the spot for gently used spring styles for guys and girls. Support sustainable fashion. This spring, do your thing and recycle the spring-inspired clothes, shoes, and accessories that are just hanging in your closet for cash on the spot. Let your spring clothes bloom into cash at Plato's Closet. Plato's Closet, located in West Ashley on Sam Rittenberg Boulevard and North Charleston on Rivers Avenue.
Talk of the Town on Super Talk 1270.
Super Talk 1270. I'm Steve Bachman along with Lori Hintz from Beck News. You can go to beck.news for all things Summit Carbon Solutions proposed CO2 pipeline. And Lori, I want to talk about the PSC because the PHMSA rule, at least the rough draft of that, has gone to OMB for review. White House will do some mock-ups and pencil some things in there as well. Public comment in March is what we're sort of guessing is going to be the comment period, and how long that'll run, who knows. But the Public Service Commission coming back, we were talking about the timelines, and Public Service Commission original docket date back in 22. Now there's another meeting coming up on the docket on Wednesday at 2 p.m. on the 7th of this month. Any indication what is going to be discussed at that meeting?
Well, certainly. The North Dakota Public Service Commission in their last meeting about a week and a half ago, it was on a Friday, and this one is on a Wednesday. The North Dakota Public Service Commission has this meeting set for where it expects to do their vote on when state rules preempt local ordinances on pipeline zoning issues. So this has been the issue for a while because Burleigh and Emmons County, as you may or may not know, put in some, they did some ordinances that they passed in those two counties. And Summit Carbon Solutions asserts, of course, that those counties' various ordinances that were passed place some unreasonable or some untenable restrictions on where they plan to put the carbon capture pipeline, where it can run. So therefore, we shall see. This could have some far-reaching implications, if you think about it, also for future, for various other pipelines and things of that nature, too. So the meeting is scheduled for Wednesday. It'll be at the Pioneer Room at the state capitol, beginning at 2 p.m. is the state capitol. And also, you would be able to also watch the live stream of the meeting as well from their PSC website. Just go to psc.nd.gov, psc.nd.gov, and so you can see that as well. But my expectation is that many landowners will be there in person. They have been there for even a work session where there was no public hearing comment made, the room was packed again. So it'll be interesting to see how many people show up for that, and it will be likely, they telegraphed at the PSC meeting previously that in their work session that they were leaning toward preemption.
So in my mind, unless they get common carrier status, then that should fall back on those local jurisdictions, those local municipalities, and their zoning ordinances. The magic ticket is sort of that common carrier status. Have you heard any discussions out of PSC as far as Summit getting that common carrier status? Because if you go back and listen to some of the language when PSC is spoken, they're assuming they already have common carrier status. And I'm still wondering where that comment came from, saying that they were going to have that, because that had to come from a higher power. I'm guessing the governor's office said, yep, not a problem, we're going to get you common carrier status, which I have a hard time swallowing, somebody getting common carrier status as a for-profit business rather than something for the common good.
I concur. That is still up in the air. That is an unanswered question. I agree with you. I'm curious about that as well, because common carrier status generally refers to things that are of public use, meaning, natural gas that people use in their homes, or oil for gasoline, or water or electricity.
Yeah, water,
those things
sewer
are
lines.
Generally concerned. Yeah, those are generally concerned common carrier.
So, and it's still that ag to energy shill that they did the night before a Public Service Commission hearing here in Bismarck. That that still resonates in me because that entire language was, as a common carrier, that was the talking point for Summit and Wade Beauchesne's from Summit Carbon Solutions. That was the talking point. Was, for me, it sounded like they already assumed that they had common carrier status, which, again, somebody had to tell them that. And I'm pointing fingers at the governor's office. That's the only place with enough authority to be able to do that, in my mind. As far as Public Service Commission and the PSC, I'm kind of curious what you think the PHMSA proposed rule, which is now at the OMB for review, and then the public comment, which is supposed to come out in March, plays into some of the decision-making from the PSC. Because a lot of people have been saying and telling the Public Service Commission, just slow down a little bit because we need to see what comes out of PHMSA. So have you heard anything or any thoughts on how those two timelines might be connected?
Well, it seems to me that when we had hearings originally with the original application before it was denied unanimously, it seems to me that during those hearings, that was a very large topic of discussion at those hearings by various people in the different localities where they had their Public Service Commission hearings across the state. And so it's kind of gone silent because everybody has been waiting so long for the PHMSA regulations to come out and explain, and then also lend itself to what rulemaking will be regarding safety things. And they said specifically in the PHMSA article that I was referring to in an earlier segment that it has to do with safety issues, including preparedness, emergency preparedness, and response for carbon dioxide. And that is the reason that these rules are even coming out in the first place was because of the Satarsha, Mississippi 2020 accident that occurred. And they realized that they were probably woefully unprepared for something of this nature because it is it's a completely different thing. It is not like a normal pipeline leakage. It's not the same concept. Now, to complicate matters, we now know that in the case people have not yet heard that Poet is now into this mix, and we'll talk about that in a future segment, I'm assuming here. But that's going to make things a little bit different. Things are constantly changing with this project and increasing in size and volume and nature as we go along.
We're talking with Lori Hintz of Beck News. You can go to beck.news and follow all things coming with Summit Carbon Solutions proposed CO2 pipeline. And the size of that pipeline might be an issue. You mentioned Poet. We'll get into that next. This is Talk of the Town on Super Talk 1270.
Follow us on
Plato's Closet in West Ashley and North Charleston are springing up cash. Just sell us your gently used warm weather styles like tees, shorts, sandals, and more. We're paying cash on the spot for gently used spring styles for guys and girls. Support sustainable fashion. This spring, do your thing and recycle the spring-inspired clothes, shoes, and accessories that are just hanging in your closet for cash on the spot. Let your spring clothes bloom into cash at Plato's Closet. Plato's Closet, located in West Ashley on Sam Rittenberg Boulevard and North Charleston on Rivers Avenue.
Like us on Facebook, Super Talk 1270.
Welcome back to Talk of the Town on Super Talk 1270.
1270, you're tuned to Talk of the Town. I'm Steve Bakken along with Lori Hintz from Beck News. You can go to beck.news. All things Summit Carbon Solutions proposed CO2 pipeline if you need information. And you mentioned Summit, they're bringing more and more Poet, the latest ethanol company that is hopping on board the Summit Carbon Solutions proposed CO2 pipeline project.
So last Monday, January 29th, a press release was released by Summit Carbon Solutions that is titled Poet and Summit Carbon Solutions Announced Carbon Capture Partnership. And if you look on the Summit Carbon Solutions website, you can see now their number of ethanol plants has risen to 51.
Holy. On the Summit line.
30 and 31 and 32, and at that point, but it has jumped up with the addition of 17 Poet plants And in a major step, this is the article that they have on their website. It says, in a major step forward for the future of agriculture and biofuels, Poet and Summit Carbon Solutions announced a groundbreaking partnership connecting the world's largest biofuel producer with the world's largest carbon capture and storage project. This collaboration brings together two entities, both founded upon creating new agricultural markets and supporting rural communities to capture the value of the biogenic CO2 from the bioethanol production process. Now, we suspected that this was happening as soon as the Navigator CO2 pipeline project was rejected and shut down, and they decided to stop doing it. We expected that there would be a jump in the numbers, but that was a bit on the shocking side to see that number jump from 30-some to 51. The partnership, according to this article, strategically expands the carbon opportunity across the Midwest by incorporating Poet's 12 facilities in Iowa and 5 facilities in South Dakota into the Summit project. So in addition to the other ones across the 5 states, and by the way, if you are new to the CO2 pipeline story, you will note that in North Dakota we have only one ethanol plant that will be supplying ethanol to this trunk line that will be sequestered, proposed sequestration north and west of Bismarck in the Oliver and Mercer County areas. So Poet is excited to partner with Summit Carbon Solutions, they say, on this historic project, said Jeff Broyne, Poet founder and CEO. As the world seeks low-carbon energy solutions, carbon capture ensures that ag-based biofuels will remain competitive for decades to come. This is a tremendous opportunity to bring value to farmers, bioethanol producers, and rural communities and counties in participating states. And I believe it will unleash even more opportunities for ag and bioprocessing in the future, end quote.
So I have 2 questions, Lori.
Sure.
And this comes back to the public safety side of stuff. So Summit Carbon Solution is proposing a CO2 pipeline. And what is the size of that pipe? Because we're at the end, which means as you're collecting and gathering more CO2, the diameter of the pipe, by the time it gets to the Bismarck, Burley County area and into Oliver and the end user, where it's going to be sequestered, that pipeline increases. Has there been any discussion? Because if they're up to 51 ethanol plants now, that means they're looking at more CO2 coming through that pipeline. The only way you do that is either A, increase pressure, or B, increase diameter of the pipe. Has there been any discussion that you've heard of, either through the PSC or through Summit, saying that, hey, we're going to put a bigger pipe in the ground, or we're going to increase the pressure on that pipe that's currently going to be put in the ground? Because if you're going to have 51 ethanol plants on this pipeline, that's the only 2 ways you increase flow.
That's a big question in the minds of many people, particularly around the Bismarck and Mandan areas, because the pipeline is slated to actually surround most of the city. So that's a great question. The current pipeline siting size around the trunk line is reportedly 24 inches in diameter. So that is a great question. I am looking and scouring right now. There is a Get the Facts About Summit Carbon Solutions link on their page, and I'm looking at the safety portion of it, and they talk about the maintaining operations center in Ames, Iowa, too. But there is, I still have yet to find any information about the size of the trunk line at this point.
Well, one of my fears is the fact that, okay, if they were to get okayed by the Public Service Commission, it's a real simple process to go, hey, we need to upsize a line. Because if they had common carrier status, then upsizing a line is a pretty simple process. That's why that common carrier status is so vitally important.
Right. So I'm looking here. I'm still scouring it, too. But it does mention, interestingly, setbacks in the safety section. It does mention wells on the pipeline. It does mention things that PHMSA requires. It talks about PHMSA requires they're placed 3 feet underground. PHMSA requires non-destructive testing of 10% of the wells connecting the pipeline. PHMSA requires that any pipeline must have at least a 1 foot clearance from the pipe and other underground structures. Summit Carbon Solutions will have 2 feet as their standard practice, with the exception of drain tile. Summit Carbon Solutions selected a route that maximizes distance from structures, especially dwellings. PHMSA requires 50-foot setbacks from existing dwellings. If you have a 24-inch pipeline and 2,200 PSIG, I don't know that 50 feet is going to do you much good. The Summit Carbon Solutions will maintain an operations center in Ames, Iowa, and then it talks about monitoring 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days. So I'm just going through this, but I do not see anything about that maybe they have moved these the size of the pipeline yet. So nothing on their docket here that I see.
You mentioned Oliver County at one point, and they had a meeting a couple weeks back that was tabled. Mm-hmm. Also, there's some question on whether or not there's some county planning and zoning members that should be recusing themselves. Part of the reason I believe they tabled it. Have you heard when that was going to be rescheduled?
I have not. Unfortunately, I cannot report on that equivocally. And unfortunately, I've also been gone for a week too, so I'm catching up as much as I can here too. So, but it is incumbent on those localities to make their decisions on the local level, and that it is important that we maintain some local control in this whole project, if you will. Just simply because those people who are going to be affected by these pipeline rules and regulations should be able to have a say in it, and that is what occurs at the local and the township level as well. Croft Township also had a meeting a couple of weeks ago as well, where they decided they were going to affirm that they were in favor of the Burleigh County ordinances, which looks like they will soon be superseded. We'll see on Wednesday. We'll be able to tell you next week how that goes.
Lori Hance, Beck News. Lori, if people want to find out about Summit Carbon Solutions' proposed CO2 pipeline on the Beck News website, where do they go?
Go to our website, which is beck.news. It is BEK. There is no C. BEK stands for Burleigh, Emmons, and Kidder counties in North Dakota. We're a cooperative, and so we are beck.news. And then search for the black icon with white letters that says Capturing America's Heartland CO2 Pipeline. All things CO2 pipeline in our latest stories. It can all be found right there.
Lori Hintz, Beck News. Thanks for coming on.
You bet. See you soon.
This is Talk of the Town on Super Talk 12.
Azure.
Super Talk.
Hey guys, time to get in on the action for the biggest moments in basketball with Prize Picks, America's #1 fantasy sports app. Just select 2 or more players, pick more or less on their projections, place your entry, and win up to 100 times your money. Right now, Prize Picks will match your first deposit of up to $100. Just download the Prize Picks app and use the code GET100. That's code GET100 on Prize Picks for a first deposit match of up to $100. Prize Picks. Pick more. Pick less. It's that easy.
Talk of the Town on Super Talk 1270.
Good Wednesday morning. You're tuned to Talk of the Town on Super Talk 1270. I'm Steve Bakken. Coming up in just a little bit, we'll talk with Jason Speeds at the bottom of the hour. And, of course, this is a Wattage Wednesday. Also, Sarah Steiger coming up next hour. Andy Ani, we're going to get to her as well, talking a little social media and how that pertains next hour. Also, Jake Milne. We're going to talk about some wind turbines and what that looks like with some of those assets when they're expired and what's in the landfills. We'll talk about that coming up at 10 o'clock. In the meantime, one of the big events that takes place around the Bismarck Mandan area, right down the road over in New Salem, North Dakota. It's ND Country Fest, and it is a great time. It's actually turned into a big event for not only the communities around New Salem, but the region as well. A lot of people travel for ND Country Fest because the lineup is absolutely great. Joining us from ND Country Fest, Luke Schaefer. Luke, how you doing, my friend?
Hey, good, Steve. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. I want to talk a little bit about the backstory because a lot of people had conversations for years and years and years about why is there not an avenue for country music fans, because people basically from here and all over Western North Dakota had to travel to WeFest. A lot of people were familiar with WeFest over in Detroit Lakes, Minnesota, and it took a while. There were a few iterations of some different rock festivals and things around North Dakota, but nothing really stuck, and there wasn't anything for that country appetite that we've got here in North Dakota. And ND Country Fest comes along in New Salem, in the shadows of New Salem Sioux, and it is growing. And that is something that other festivals and other shows have not done. So what's the secret sauce? What's the formula? And give a little backstory on ND Country Fest and how we got it here in North Dakota.
Well, the backstory is, right, like I grew up in Bismarck, right there, right in the backwoods of the old, of the area. Excuse me. So it was growing up there, and all my friends are from there. My families are from Bismarck, Mandan area, and the whole state. I'm a St. Mary's grad, I'm an NDSU grad, all that good stuff. And it was just one of those things, like, why do all of our people in North Dakota, why do they have to travel out for some great entertainment? And it was just one of those things, like, why can't this exist in North Dakota? And then it's like, where should we put it? Well, let's put it where the beacon off the interstate, right? The interstate's great. Everybody knows when they drive through North Dakota where the interstate is, and then they know where the cow is. So it's like, why not put it underneath Big Salem Sioux? Because even if you're from Washington, or if you're from Wisconsin, or if you're driving through, you're like, oh yeah, I know where that big cow is. But that was the thing. It was like, why can't this exist? And why do our people from North Dakota, why do they have to travel outside of the state to get great entertainment in a festival setting? And for sure, country music, it's country through and through.
So when you're talking about building a festival, because you mentioned New Salem Sioux, and everybody knows that landmark, but the property below New Salem Sioux is also kind of key to that, because if you're going to build out a festival, you have to have the camping, you have to have room to grow into. And I've seen that with some of the other venues in North Dakota where they just haven't had the room to grow. So it kind of tails off and not around anymore. Tell us about the thought process of picking that location and then knowing that you've got room to grow into, maybe someday it is a Wee Fest or a Cheyenne Frontier Days or one of those larger premier events, but you got to have the room to grow into that.
Well, and I don't know if a lot of listeners already know or not, but we did 65,000 people last year at our show. So it's big, and we pull from 40 different states, and we pull from, I think it's now 3 to 4 different provinces in Canada. So we're pulling people from all over the United States. So it's not just North Dakota. That's we're going into our seventh year, but we are becoming a definite national name, especially around the country music tour and scene. And the artists know us, and the booking agencies know us. So it is quite big, and it's growing, and it's growing at a rate right now. The last 4 years, it's been growing at a rate of 30%. And I can tell you right now, where we sit today over last year is we're at a rate at 40% this year over last year, which is amazing. Now, to answer your question, yeah, I mean, the community was great. Everybody had their questions, right? The community was like, well, what are you going to do? Why do you want to put it here? It'll never, and then there's other, the naysayers, not necessarily the community, but just in general, of like, that'll never work. People tried this up in this area of North Dakota, and they tried this over there, and it only lasted 2 years. That only lasted 3 years. You're only going to make it 1 year, and that's it, and whatnot. But knowing a couple things, right? There was an appetite for it. There's demand for it because it's country music, and that never existed before in a festival setting. But you're right to go ahead and pick a place where you can expand. Well, shoot, in New Salem, if you get on top of the cow, you can see people driving in driving out from Bismarck and driving back into Bismarck, right? It's so flat, right? There's room for everywhere. But doing the research on it, right? Doing the research on it and talking to the local landowners too, saying, hey, this is what I'm looking to do. What do you think? If it does expand, we do need camping. Would you consider, a partnership to go ahead and use that land that's close? Because if it does get to a point where we need that land, would you be interested in talking? And they're all like, yeah, we're here to support it. We think it'd be good for not only the community of New Salem, but they were like, it's a great thing for the state. And a lot of those folks there obviously do more than just that are just landowners in New Salem. A lot of those folks do a lot of things around the state too. So they're all in. They're like, best of luck and see what happens. And the first year it was like 2 nights of camping, and we just needed the camping grounds that was in the Morton County Fairgrounds area. And we did 1 night of music, which was Michael Ray was our headliner. He had the #1 song in country music at the time. 4,000 people show up for that one day. And it was like, I think we got something here. And now here we are, years later. And now we're 4 days of country music, 4 nights of camping, 65,000 people. And it's just blown up. And just the support of the whole, initially, right, it's that Bismarck, Mandan, New Salem, that 100-mile radius where it supported the first 2 years, and then it just blew up across the whole state. And then now it's gone across the whole United States. Like, if we look at our dot map every week on our ticket sales, the dot map meaning where zip codes of where people are purchasing from, and we're just amazed every single week where actually more dots pop up around the country, and then especially, like I said, too, into Canada.
We're talking with Luke Schaefer, ND Country Fest, and you've grown into North Dakota's largest camping event. You're going from one stage to multiple stages. We'll talk about that and the lineup this year when we come back, and then something else you're working on concerning Tracy Bird. People may be familiar with that name as well. This is Talk of the Town on Super Talk 1270.
This is the Pet Minute. I'm Steve Dale. In the U.S., the vast majority of pet birds are bred for captivity, not wild caught. That's not true everywhere, and wild species are paying a price. Next. Beringer Ingelheim Animal Health wants you to know that your dog can be at risk of heart disease. By screening for a heart murmur, abnormal heart rhythm, or heart enlargement, your veterinarian will be able to diagnose and possibly treat these signs earlier. There are medications that can help delay the onset of congestive heart failure or manage the symptoms of heart failure once diagnosed. Talk with your veterinarian to see if your dog is at risk and schedule that ever-important annual exam. Early detection is best. A new study reveals that bird species extinction rates are accelerating. Not only would we miss their songs, many birds eat insects we don't want and are pollinators. The biggest issues are habitat destruction and climate change contributing to the demise of many species. For the Pet Minute, I'm Steve Dale.
The Ramsey Show.
How much are you paying a month in childcare?
Tuition for the daycare we use is $25,000 per kid. Then we pay extra for early care and aftercare. Our child care costs are about $80,000 a year.
They're not even in school, and you're already paying $25,000 a head? I mean, are they going to Harvard? We're going to take out student loans for the 4-year-old. Wow.
There's gold in those daycare hills.
The Ramsey Show.
Starting at 5 p.m. weekdays on Super Talk 1270.
Hello, North Dakota. Joe Gigante, host of the Regular Joe Show, now heard weeknights 9 to midnight here on Super Talk 1270. Together we'll tackle the hottest topics, be it politics, entertainment, or the culture, unapologetically through the lens of true conservatism, all while remembering to laugh and have a little bit of fun. You know, live life boldly. The Regular Joe Show, weekday evening starting at 9 on Super Talk 1270 and the free Super Talk 1270 mobile app.
Open Water Marine and Tuffy Boats are proud to bring you the Mike Peluso Outdoors Fishing Report. Tuffy Boats have a storied history and are versatile for any body of water that you choose to fish. The affordable, no-nonsense, rugged, and durable design is why the Tuffy is the boat of choice for Mike Peluso Outdoors. Open Water Marine is pleased to bring you both the Mike Peluso Outdoors Fishing Report and Tuffy Boats. Join us every Friday between 4 and 5 on this station for the Open Water Marine Mike Peluso Outdoors Fishing Report.
Talk of the Town. Weekday mornings starting at 9 on Super Talk 1270 and the free Super Talk 1270 mobile app.
KLXX AM, Mandan, Bismarck, a Town Square media station, broadcasting from the View Community Credit Union studio.
News, talk, and sports for Bismarck Mandan. Super Talk 1270.
Portions of the following program are pre-recorded.
Welcome back to Talk of the Town on Super Talk 1270.
You're tuned to Talk of the Town on Super Talk 1270. I'm Steve Bach, and we're talking with Luke Schaefer, ND Country Fest, and from its humble beginnings to now multiple stages, and I mean multiple stages. We're talking with Luke Schaefer, and Luke, you guys have a main stage, secondary stage, Frontier Village, the NDCF main stage, nightly party. You guys have got it all going on out at New Salem.
You know, when we say music festival, we really mean music festival.
All the pieces.
Right. Literally, you can show up and you can have dang near 14 hours straight of live music from when you get there all the way until, when we shut down at about 2 a.m. So there's music all the way across the board. So, obviously our main stage, which has our main artist, this opens up when we call our music festival bowl. I mean, this year, it's the biggest lineup we've ever had, with Dierks Bentley, Riley Green, Michael Ray, Clint Black, Easton Corbin, Diamond Rio, Leroy Parnell, Pam Tillis, Ned Ledoux, the War Hippies. The list goes on and on and on. And you can check. We'll end up doing off of that main stage roughly about 23 artists just off of the main stage in 4 days. But then we also have every night, we have our nightly after party. As soon as the main stage is done, we have another stage that's in our big, huge tent in the back of the bowl area that has our DJ Do, which DJ Do is our DJ that runs all the way from, with our after party, all the way from 12:30 all the way till 2 a.m. He's also our MC of the whole show. But Do is a great friend of mine. I don't know if a lot of people are familiar with Phoenix and the Phoenix Open or the Houston Rodeo or the NFR. If they've ever been to those other events. He's that guy. He's from Phoenix. Actually, he's from Tucson. He's a great friend, and he does a great job with our after parties and emceeing. So that takes you all the way till 2 a.m. But also there's another secondary stage where we do national artists, up-and-comers, every day from 1 o'clock to 4 o'clock. And there's a whole nother set of up-and-comer Nashville artists that play that stage for that hour, those hours. And then we have another stage that we call out in Frontier Village, which is in our Frontier Campground, which we're going to be, it's new this year to 2024, is what we call our Fest Day Live. A lot of our fans, they know that we do a lot of social media and social media lives, and we appreciate all of you guys watching those. But we're going to come to the crowd, in the crowd, on stage, right there in the village. We'll be doing all kinds of interactions and with the music behind it out there on that stage too. So, 14 hours easy of music every single day, live music.
Luke, that's one of the things with this festival because you touch all the bases. Dierks Bentley, the big headliners, Clint Black, one of the staples when I first got into country music back in the 90s. And I remember when Clint Black used to rock, and he rocked hard. Pam Tillis, you cover the bases for absolutely everybody. And one of the things I am really excited about is that up-and-coming stage, because I used to work in some space with new artists, and that energy that comes from new artists that are just looking for the exposure and they're not quite there yet. They haven't quite hit, but they're right on the cusp. And then the ability for fans to go, hey, I saw them before they were that big famous artist. It's like, I saw Taylor Swift before Taylor Swift was Taylor Swift. That's a cool part of that. You guys provide that.
Exactly, and that's a great part of the experience for our folks. Like you said, I saw Taylor Swift, she was on the secondary stage at such and such, and we like it. We got a great lineup for that too. We haven't released it, but I'll give you one right now that we're going to put out there. Is Taylor Austin Die. She's on our on her main stage too, but she'll be running the secondary stage one day. But she's a twist between Gretchen Wilson and Miranda Lambert in her voice and her stage presence. It's just a matter of time for her, and she has a great kind of country rock edge to her. And when you hear her and you see her live, it's like, oh yeah, this is it. This is it. Just a matter of time, and that's fun because too, like Steve, it's like when those secondary stages, you're right there. I mean, it doesn't get any more up and close and personal than that. And those are the ones you saw them before they were.
It's a long way before ND Country Fest, but some of those ticket packages you guys have, and I know the camping goes fast as well, but the VIP weekend admissions, you're almost out of those.
We are. There's literally less than 20 VIP weekend passes for the festival, and those go fast. And this is the fastest that's ever gone for us this year. Usually they have always sold out. Last 3 years they've sold out, but this is the soonest they have gone. If you want to go VIP this year, definitely get on and ndcountryfest.com and grab those VIP tickets now. We still do have, a lot of people do ask about payment plans, and we do have that. So when you do go on our ticket site, instead of hitting buy tickets, hit reserve, and then it'll load it up into the payment plan for you.
So what is that website?
It's ndcountryfest.com, and just hit tickets, and then it'll take you right to it.
Pretty simple. I wanted to give you a couple minutes to talk about something that you're kind of expanding into some other areas a little bit. Tell us about the Your Town tour.
So the Your Town tour, just a quick history of that, was about in 2018. It is my partner in this is the other owner partner, Brandon Ralph. We were like, man, we have backgrounds of sports, sports and coaching and recruiting and playing and all that kind of stuff. And it was like, man, I think we need to go out and probably just go on, like, drive around and talk to people in all these small towns around North Dakota and let them know what ND Country Fest is about and what we do and what we're doing and what the future looks like, and literally ask them who they'd like to see at ND Country Fest, as far as artists. So we jumped in a car and we made a map and we went around and we went to dang near the first year. We went to dang near every little small town, went to the cafes, went to the restaurants and the big towns, Bismarck, Fargo, Jamestown, Dickinson, all that kind of stuff. Handed out posters, handed out magnets, talked to everybody. And that was the first year, and it went so well. And then we video it with Facebook Lives all the way through. And then all of a sudden there's people watching us and tracking us and meeting us at, hey, meet me at this cafe in New Leipzig or this place in Wishick, and so on and so on. And now that thing has grown to where now the second year that we had done it, we're like, we should do some concerts with it on some of these stops. But now that's grown to where now we have over like 2 million views and engagements on social media while we're driving around the whole state. But now we have 10 different, now it's grown not to just the North Dakota, we have 10 different concerts around the whole Midwest with the Your Town tour, and that headliner is with Tracy Bird. And now we have 6 shows in North Dakota. We got 3 shows in South Dakota. We got 1 show in Omaha, Nebraska, and then we have 1 show in Wyoming. And then now there's other venues in other states, especially Colorado, that we had talked about earlier about that offline. But it was we'll probably expand into Colorado and possibly Arizona in 2025. So this thing, it gets us out there. We go in, we put these shows on. We're in front of these communities. It's a great show. Usually they're smaller venues and a big name, and it's a great experience for everybody. And it gets the ND Country Fest name out there and brand out there. And a lot of times what happens as soon as we put these shows on, say like in Gillette, Wyoming, a lot of folks will purchase our tickets and come to the show in July, to the festival. And it's really great for us. And we come out and see everybody and we talk to everybody, and we're not behind any type of desk or anything like that or nothing. We're out and about, and that's what we love to do, is talk to the people and be in front of the people and be in front of our guests and potentially new guests.
Looking forward to ND Country Fest coming up again this year. It is going to be a great time, growing every year out at New Salem, camping, 4 days of country music, different stages, different atmospheres, different genres of country music, which is really a cool part as well. A lot for everybody. Also, the Your Town tour with Tracy Bird. I'm looking forward to seeing if you got a little watermelon crawl in you.
All day long. All day long. We watermelon crawling all across the Midwest.
Perfect, Luke. Once again, people want to find out more information, ndcountryfest.com for the Your Town tour or ND Country Fest, those VIP packages. You can actually put them on a payment plan, but those are going extremely fast. Luke, looking forward to another update.
Hey, thank you. Thanks for having me, and we look forward to the future with you guys, too.
Luke Schaefer, ND Country Fest, coming up in the very near future. Also, the Your Town tour with Tracy Bird. This is Talk of the Town on Super Talk 1270.
Super Talk.
Plato's Closet in West Ashley and North Charleston are springing up cash. Just sell us your gently used warm weather styles like tees, shorts, sandals, and more. We're paying cash on the spot for gently used spring styles for guys and girls. Support sustainable fashion. This spring, do your thing and recycle the spring-inspired clothes, shoes, and accessories that are just hanging in your closet for cash on the spot. Let your spring clothes bloom into cash at Plato's Closet. Plato's Closet, located in West Ashley on Sam Rittenberg Boulevard and North Charleston on Rivers Avenue.
Talk of the Town on Super Talk 1270.
Super Talk 1270. I'm Steve Bakken along with Brad Ock of Runnings. And Bradley, you guys just had a really busy week and a busy weekend. Of course, all the customer appreciation stuff that took place last week. And how'd that go for you? Pretty busy?
Yeah, it was great. It was nice to see some traffic coming into the store again. This is kind of like our transition between
seniors, first responders.
Holidays.
I mean,
yeah,
you guys like help out everybody, military.
It's a good time to bring people in and talk to the customers. And we had a great turnout. Of course, we had some people coming in on different days that weren't the assigned day, but we don't care, and we tell all the associates every morning at the meeting, I don't care when the fire department guy comes in. If he comes in on a Tuesday, just honor it. We don't care. It's like, this is the week.
They got crazy schedules. So
yes.
Yep.
You know what? Same healthcare was on Friday. I mean, they can't just come in on a Friday. So some came in over the weekend. That's cool. We just want to make sure we took care of them and thank them.
Well, there were a lot of people in town because of the PRCA.
Right.
You guys had the Bull Riders, too. You were sponsoring
Yeah,
this
we
year.
were the sponsors of the Bull Riders this year, or the Bull Fighters this year. And it was cool. It was a local kid, Leighton Woodbury, down from Carson. Yeah, he just had that big event down in Vegas. It was like the World Championship Bullfighters.
Yeah, that would be the NFR.
There you go.
Yeah.
See, I'm learning all this stuff.
Brad.
I sold clothes for so many years, right? I got to get in on this.
Which is part of the reason why you're always well dressed.
Yeah. So, but yeah, it was really cool. I got to go down there and meet the guys. The other guy this year was Richard Ratley was back. We were able to sponsor him last year as well, which is cool. He's down in Kansas. So he's from Hutchinson, Kansas, and I had worked a few years for JCPenney's down in Wichita, Kansas. So very familiar with the area.
Not far away.
Yep. So I got to talk to him a little bit last night or Saturday night too. And of course, it was always nice to see Leighton out there and supporting local guys right here and having success in what he's doing.
So with the sponsorship, because that's one of the things. So I know Runnings has a big footprint in farm and ranch and supporting events like that. But how cognizant are you guys to try to find that local talent and find that local piece so you can sponsor them specifically?
It's a lot of word of mouth stuff. We try really hard to, if I have an associate come up and say, hey, you got to check this out. A good example actually would be Leighton. Our assistant manager, same town, friends on Facebook, knows him and very aware of what he was going through. Hey, we need to support this event. They're doing a fundraiser. What can we do to send him to Vegas and support him during this? So it's really great because now the store team is very willing to be like, hey, this is so-and-so. They're doing this. We got to support it. We have a couple 4-H kids who work for us at the store. So we've got to do a couple 4-H fundraisers in the store this year, which piggybacked at being out and present at their premium sales, but also having someone in the store being like, well, why can't we do that here? I'm like, do it.
Why not?
Absolutely. So it's cool to see the store supports it, the associates support it, and if they see someone local where they can do something to support the organization, we're all in. Just like our full-timers, they're all invited to join a local club or organization, and Runnings will pay their dues for that. So we have some who have joined Pheasants Forever, and we pay those dues for them. And all they got to do is just come to me and say they want to join this group or club, and we'll just do the paperwork and pay the dues for them.
Well, the cool part is, too, because you've got a lot of part-time employees, and they're usually already members of a club or an organization. So how often do they come to you and go, hey, we're doing this, can you help out?
Yeah, we get a lot of fundraising opportunities through them. We attract from a younger side, we do tend to attract an egg group out of school, like your 4-Hers, who grew up knowing Runnings or shopping at Runnings, and eventually they will start to work here for us. And you find pet lovers who have always purchased their pet food for us growing up. So when the time comes to get a job, they're in our store every month anyways buying pet food.
They know the product line. They know the department.
Yeah, so then they jump in and apply, and then after that, it's word of mouth. We do a lot of referral-based hiring.
You mentioned the clothing side of stuff. What I have not seen for sale are those PRCA Bullfighter Runnings
jerseys.
Those jerseys.
Those are awesome. Man,
those are cool.
They did such a good job.
You should be selling those for a little bit of hey, we're going to help fundraise here and sell those. And a little, little kickback to the athletes.
Yeah, they had Chad Berger, the Bulls, and that is who I had worked with a little bit on some of that. He actually, whoever designed those, took all of our logos and dropped them onto one jersey. And I tell you what, it looks fantastic. The big circle R, kind of like a side
normally
piece.
You would think it was like, okay, Runnings threw up, but no, they look cool.
It looks so good. I was very pleased. It was super cool. I have one.
Sell those in the store.
I have one in my office.
I bet you do.
It's super cool. Yeah, they made us one. They put Bismarck on the back.
So did they find one big enough for you, or they have to pull it off the bowl?
It's a little snug.
They pulled it off the bowl.
Yeah, yeah. It needs to stretch out if I'm going to wear it. It could be a really good base layer.
Again, you need to sell those in the store.
Yes.
That'd be a very cool piece because somebody goes to the event and in town for that and stop at Runnings. Hey, check that out. Support a local local guy. See, I'm all
get the
about
bullfight
ideas.
And get his name on the back and everything. That would be really cool.
That would be cool. You could have signature events. Have them sign a bunch.
It was crazy because Saturday was the day I went over to meet the bullfighters. We dropped off some 5-gallon pails with some running stuff in it, some candy for their little locker room over there, and then a case of water. But at that same time, we also had the Pheasants Forever banquet. So at one point, I ran away from the Pheasants Forever banquet, which is awesome because it was at the hotel by the mall there in the event center. We were just minutes apart. It's like, all right, guys, I got to run over there. I'll be back in like 35 minutes. Here's my bidding number. If I win anything, I'm 112. Just raise it up. I'll be right back. But no.
And if there's anything you want, feel free to raise up that number because
I was very careful not to leave my number during the live auction.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's sometimes a good idea.
It's smart. Kev was there. He was in control.
He could have done a lot of damage, though. Really? Kev was in control?
Yeah. So, but no, and that was fun. The Pheasants Forever banquet was really cool this year. We had our own table. We were a big sponsor this year. They do a great job recognizing the people involved in that and the people supporting that. And it was really cool to get out and finally start to truly know the people behind Pheasants Forever because they helped us with that pollinator plot in the back of the store on the north end. So they're way beyond pheasants, and they're about saving the environment, the ecosystem, and what pheasants need to thrive. And
there's a big kind of little bit of a field there next to the pollinator plot. You should just get them to plant that in CRP, and you could just have a pheasant park there. Well, like I told you, one of my neighbors, he's got a big backyard over on the other side of our little development, and I ran into him last week, and he's unloading corn from Runnings because he has 5, 6, 7 pheasants in his backyard, and he's like, "Yeah, I want him to hang around," so he's feeding the pheasants.
There you go.
They're fun to watch.
Yeah, a little
can't really hunt them
nutrition.
in town, but
right there you go. But taking care of them,
but when they're out the window, they can drive the dogs nuts, and that's kind of fun to watch too.
Oh yeah, no, it's a good time.
So see a bigger pollinator plot and CRP, and
and we're kind of excited. The pollinator plot should potentially look like something this year. Last year it was very weed looking. It was very.
I'll tell you what.
weedy
Hold on that, because I want to hear more about that and the program behind that. We're talking with Brad Ock from Runnings. Be sure to stop in 701 South Washington in Bismarck, and of course, that's our running store. Not to slight Mandan we'll slight Dickinson because you like slighting Dickinson anyway, but running's all around the region as well. So this is Talk of the Town on Super Talk 1270.
Request. When you make decisions for your company, you look for the no-brainers. If you have a lot of mailing to do, Stamps.com is the ultimate no-brainer. Use the Stamps.com mobile app to mail everything you need to keep your business running with up to 89% off USPS and UPS. Make the same no-brainer decision as over 1 million other businesses with Stamps.com. Use code PROGRAM for a special offer. That's Stamps.com, code PROGRAM.
Back to Talk of the Town on Super Talk 1270.
Super Talk 1270, you're talking to Brad Ock, General Manager at Runnings in South Bismarck, 701 South Washington. And talk a little bit about the pollinator plot, because you guys work with Pheasants Forever, but you had a lot of other community partners to put this little pollinator plot in. And the purpose of a pollinator plot, of course, pollinators. You think bees and you think birds and different insects that all pollinate, and they don't look like much for the first year or two, but then they start coming together. It's kind of like planting a wildflower garden. It kind of looks cool.
Right. So, a couple of years ago, we had talked about
natural prairie.
Yeah. And I kind of got going with one of the Pheasants Forever guys about this small little pollinator plot we did at our house. And, Pheasants Forever partners with the North Dakota Game and Fish Department, and they do some of these pollinator plots around town. They do it out of town. You dedicate space to the program, and they're going to come in, and we had to till it, and we had to do kind of some of our own prep work, kill off the grass we had there. But you had to be very careful because they're putting seeds down there, and they're putting a seed mix that is native to North Dakota. So it's a mix that's going to take, and the whole point of that is to create, well, you said a thriving community for bees, butterflies, and insects to help continue to pollinate what we do have, because the importance of pollinators are far beyond just the beauty of butterflies and flowers and all that, but what it means
as a big egg state, North Dakota is, there's a reason we're the number one honey producer.
Yes, and you've got to have space dedicated to support that community of insects and pollinators. And before we knew it, one thing led to another, and we were going on. It was an outdoor heritage fund, is what was set up with the North Dakota Game and Fish, a partnership with Pheasants Forever, and they came in Dorothy Moses Elementary School. The third graders came in. I believe it was the third graders.
Great project for the kids.
Yeah, they bussed these kids in, and they had all these different stations. They had a animal first station. There was an information station on bees. There was a station where they would walk through the area, and each section got to plant the seeds in a certain area. And then you went to another section and you made a little bee house type thing. It was just all these little hands-on crafts experience to teach these third graders about pollinators and why the pollinator plot was important. And
was the honey queen of North Dakota there?
No.
That's actually a thing. I didn't know that until college. I had a friend of mine who was we called her Queen Bee. She was Miss North Dakota Honey Queen.
Oh,
for a year
cool.
in high school. I think it was a 4-H or an FFA project or something like that. But she was like this honey queen. It was I didn't know that was a thing. But
no, we had no honey queen.
Okay, next year you got to work on the honey queen.
We got to work on that because it should be
getting the honey queen there.
Year 3 is the year we were told it's really going to start to look like something. We were warned last year about it's going to look like a field of weeds. But it's got to establish.
Don't mow it.
Yeah, we had to wait for it to get to a certain height, and then we just mowed it down to about 12 inches. And then we got to let it rebuild this year. But it was really neat to see the hands-on from North Dakota Game and Fish educating the students on the importance of this habitat, and then to see the Pheasants Forever. I think you look at Pheasants Forever as an organization that's just pheasants, and it's not. There's so much more.
Well, all those organizations, and Pheasant Forever is one of the big ones, that it's not about, stalking birds or, it's about the habitat. whether it's the Mule Deer Foundation or Wild Turkey Federation or Ducks Unlimited or Delta Water. It's about habitat.
Yes. And
because we've got native prairie that is incredible habitat for all these different species of birds and animals, but you have to maintain that. You have to know how to make sure that it continues to propagate. It's not just the food plots or the agriculture side. It's a combination of, and that's why we've got the great waterfowl, we've got the great upland game hunting, the large game, all of it, because it's that balance of that wild prairie, that pollinator plot, that the natural grasslands that exist, and the cropland and the water, and we got it all.
Right, and they're there to educate and inform, and they have a habitat assistance program. So if you are a member of Pheasants Forever, just go to their website. Habitat assistance is a link on their main page, and you can fill that out. And there's 4 or 5 different sections on the application, and you can apply for seed distribution. They will help you with seeds. They will line you up with the right people, and they'll make sure you plant at the right time with the right conditions, and they're. It was really neat for me to see it from an outside perspective of never being a hunter, and to see it from outside of the hunting world from an environmental standpoint. It was really neat to see how involved this organization is in beyond hunting, but the preservation and the longevity and the future of not just hunting, but that habitat as well. So.
Great piece, and you don't have to be a member of Pheasants Forever. It's if you are, great, or any of these other organizations, reach out to them if you've got some land you're willing to dedicate, because again, Game and Fish is one of their big partners. They work very closely with these service organizations to try to make sure that it's a really good opportunity, whether for elementary kids and
that was the neat piece.
Yeah,
it was really cool because that was actually one of the things they told us when they started this program is, hey, like, we're about educating. We're going to partner with an elementary school and bring these kids in, and this is going to be an
that'll
event.
be ongoing year after year after year.
Yeah, so we're hoping now, as this year they're 4th graders, as 5th graders we'll be able to bring them back, or as 6th graders we'll be able to bring this group back and see, hey, remember you guys planted this? This is where we're at now. And the long-term goal is to put identity markers, identifying plaques within the food plots. Say, this is what it is, and kind of have it an informational walkthrough. And, some sort of, we have, the Arboretum. Is that what it is?
Yep.
Yeah.
By Tom O'Leary Golf Course.
Yes. Some sort of cool little walkthrough path with a bench and notifier plaques, like long-term goal. We're looking at making this a continued educational space, but beneficial at the same time.
Yeah, these are black-eyed Susans. They're very pretty. This is poison ivy. Do not touch. None of that in there, though, right? We hope, yeah. Great project, but, a lot... Runnings is really good about those community service projects, and that's a great one. And a lot of it starts with those affiliations from different organizations. If you're one of those organizations out there, how do you get Runnings on board? How do you go through the process of going, hey, we've got this great project, we'd like to do this fundraiser, or we've got this community thing. How does running get involved? You mentioned the word of mouth stuff, but is that where it starts? Is there a page on the website? How do people reach out?
Yeah, there is a community link on runnings.com, and there's an online application process, and that goes right to the community board in Marshall at our home office in Marshall, Minnesota. And they meet once a month, and they look over some of these larger donations, and they make the decision as a group, like, hey, what we're going to support and how we're going to support it, because we do get asked a lot of times for some pretty high dollar donations, and they want to be part of that process. They want consistency throughout the company, so you don't have one store saying, oh, I did this, and then this store saying they didn't. But there's a lot of smaller donations. They leave 100% up to us at the store. So some of these, $100, $200, $300 things, you just got to come talk to us at the store. I would always prefer, because I'll help you fill out that application if it's beyond my control.
Well, and especially if it's beyond your control. I mean, I can imagine that board reaches back to you as the store manager going, so how does this fit into the community?
Yeah.
So in a lot of cases, you wind up being their biggest lobbyist.
What does this do for the store? Like, where are you at with the store? Who is like, well, this person's in here all the time, and they tell us about these different things they're doing. They're a good customer of ours. Like, we want to support that. And if it's an egg thing, it's a rodeo thing, if it's a youth thing, youth archery, we're very, very excited. Very new territory for me, archery. But it's a category that's picking up. It's a sport where more kids are getting involved and more kids are really excited about archery. And what a cool activity.
You probably lean on Kev a little bit for that one.
Absolutely. As an archer himself, he's very excited to see the youth side start to pick up and see these youth the Heddle here in town of competing nationally and internationally in the Junior Olympics. These girls started young, and Kev supported them from almost his beginning with runnings. He supported these girls, and they come in and they talk to our customers. We had a little setup last summer outside, and the girls spoke about archery and what they do, and it's just really neat to see, those we support come back in and educate our customers and inspire our customers and hopefully have some more of them join these activities.
And of course, if it's any sort of a fundraiser where there's food involved, you're all in.
I'm always
Kev's all in.
Oh, man. My favorite
I'm
fundraiser.
usually there.
That's just it. Burley County 4-H did smoked pulled pork, brats, and hot dogs. Oh, I can't say no to that.
Can't beat it. So if you're any of those service organizations or something for the kids, how do they reach out to you?
You can call the store and ask for me, or I always prefer face-to-face. Come on in.
Ask for Brad.
me.
Pretty
Love to hear
simple.
about it.
And some of those bigger ones that do have to get filled out, go talk to you too. Because
Absolutely.
like I said,
I'll help you do it.
You're probably the biggest lobbyist for
I'll send the email.
a lot of those projects. We're talking about Brad Ock, General Manager of Runnings in Bismarck, 701 South Washington. This is Talk of the Town on Super Talk 1270.
Hey guys, time to get in on the action for the biggest moments in basketball with Prize Picks, America's #1 fantasy sports app. Just select 2 or more players, pick more or less on their projections, place your entry, and win up to 100 times your money. Right now, Prize Picks will match your first deposit of up to $100. Just download the Prize Picks app and use the code GET100. That's code GET100 on Prize Picks for a first deposit match of up to $100. Prize Picks. Pick more. Pick less. It's that easy.
1270. Welcome back to Talk of the Town on Super Talk 1270.
Super Talk 1270. I'm Steve Bach, along with Brad Ock, General Manager of Runnings, and we're talking about some of the community events that they do. Of course, one of the things that you're involved with, the Big Muddy, and this weekend they had a team meeting. Nothing says spring like starting to talk about the Big Muddy.
Getting the excitement out there. So, there's 100 teams. You can have up to 3 people in a team. And this past Saturday was their kind of kickoff event. They set the teams for the Big Muddy. So they had 98 teams, I believe it was, came back from last year.
Wow.
So once you're in, you're in. You can't get booted until these other 2 teams didn't come back. So there were, can't quote me on the exact number, but it was just over 30 new teams trying to get in on Saturday. They put all those teams in a hat. They drew 2. So 2 of those 30-some teams got in. So the teams are set. That is such a cool event, too.
You didn't make it this year?
No.
Okay, sorry.
I bet they probably want me in, because I don't know what I'd be fishing
Maybe an
with.
alternate for somebody's team, Brad.
Yeah, I go with my little, colliding scoping.
Yeah, your Snoopy pole.
Yeah. Go out there.
Kev could hook you up with that.
Yeah, I have my kids all have really cool fishing poles. I can have a team of 3.
Exactly.
It's the spirit of trying.
Yeah, if you need an alternate, give Brad a call.
I'm totally in. I'll come in with my little cars pole.
Oh,
we'll do a great job.
You have those PRCA jerseys, the runnings jerseys. That could be the team jersey for the fishing. See, it all comes together. You got to get those jerseys.
I may not do well, but I'll look good trying.
You'll look good trying. But spring around the corner with when you start talking Big Muddy, you're talking spring in the Bismarck Mandan area.
When Kev told me he was going to that, I was like, wait, oh my gosh, that's in May. He's like, first week of May. Like, that's around the corner.
Yes.
Oh.
Of course, we might have a little snow between now and then if winter decides to come back, like it possibly could this week, because I know after last year, you were very cognizant of making sure that you did not run out of snow blowers. Make sure that the customers...
Yeah, we haven't yet this year.
No.
Yeah, we've done very good at keeping those on hand. I know.
Well, one of the things, too, is you you're in a really good position with Runnings. You don't have to have too much inventory, which can be a hindrance to a lot of businesses.
Yes.
Because you've got such a great relationship with the vendors, and a lot of the supply chain stuff you guys were able to get cleared up by now. So even if we would have had a winter like last year, you still wouldn't have run out.
Right. So we were very prepared for this year, and we are actually already starting to see the other spring goods come in. We have a lot of patio furniture coming in. Lawn and garden, soil, grass.
So you're supposed to say that with an Irish accent. The patio furniture. It's a bad joke. I'm sorry.
Oh man! So it's all coming in, and it was compared to the last few years. We have to rethink our merchandising now. There's been space. We get a truck, like, yes, we push it all out. Now we're getting a truck. We have to start thinking about how to push it out. There's so much stuff coming in.
Remember, you had a warehouse.
Yeah. So now we're kind of like, oh my gosh, we got a lot of stuff coming in. But it's that awkward transition between winter and spring. And as a retail store, you're always a season ahead. So we are in spring. All our spring goods are landing now, even though we're still in the middle.
You're not putting
winter.
Christmas stuff out yet, though, right?
No.
Okay, thank you.
Christmas is gone. Yeah, it's all gone.
We'll wait till closer to.
We'll wait at least till June.
Yeah. Thanks. I'm a one season at a time guy. So,
but in the middle of that, now we're getting ready for the sports show. The sports show is Thursday. We set up on Wednesday for the sports show already, and we're doing Camco camping product. So this is really cool. We're kind of becoming a semi-superstore for Camco. We're not quite their superstore status, but we are expanding to 28 feet of high wall for Camco, which is in another 12 feet of space dedicated to Camco camping RV product. So that is what we're
And in the
taking.
retail world, high wall means you've got a big selection of stuff.
Yeah, it's on the back wall. It's like a 12-foot high wall.
Yeah,
it's very
not the little aisle.
Not to be confused with low wall.
Yes. No, that is prime real estate. So that means you guys are one of the top vendors.
Yeah, people have been slowly coming to us over the years and asking for product, and we were finally able to pull the trigger on that and get a great Camco assortment. So we're going to bring some of that to the show this week, and you're going to be able to see what we got. The vendor sent us 7 pallets of freight, and there are a lot of quantities of some things. We have not finished checking it in. It just got in at the end of last week, but he said he has some good deals he sent on that pallet list. So we'll be breaking that down here today and tomorrow.
And usually those are really good deals because they don't want any of that back.
No, they do not. And the same where if you were there last year, we had this big 1x2x4 tub filled with fishing lures at crazy discounts below cost. I believe the term we use is buying friends.
Bought a few of those.
Yes, and so did Associates.
Yeah.
But it is just,
deal.
They're all the clearance stuff we have. We take another 50 to 75% off. We mark it way down. Takes a little while to ring up because that's not the price they're going to ring us. We got to mark it down more. But it's stuff we want gone.
See, I was walking through with Wendy. I'm like, oh my gosh, look. And she's like, you have enough. Really?
But at those prices,
but they're almost free.
I know. You can't
There's
help
no
it.
such thing as that. I'm like, really, Wendy? Like, you have enough shoes? Come on. It's like, I cut her some slack.
Yeah.
So
but it's a good time. We're very excited to be set up again this year. Really excited to be doing the Camco side of it and really kind of show customers something they may not necessarily think about us for when it comes to RV supplies and camping needs.
Great. Absolutely fun stuff. And you guys are setting up Wednesday. The camping show kicks off on Thursday,
Friday, Saturday.
It is going to be great. Make sure you stop on by, find the Runnings booth because you're going to have some cool stuff there.
Yeah, I believe Greg Eli's coming over again with the boat.
Oh, awesome.
Possibly. We're not finalized, but we're pushing for it.
The little Runnings
we like
boat.
him.
I like that.
Yep.
That's kind of cool. It's something different to,
He came in last year with the Runnings
tricks
boat, and it was awesome. He does a great job, especially talking to kids, pulling them up in the boat, taking photos with them. It's really cool.
So does he have one of those cool Runnings jerseys?
He
too?
also has a jersey. He's got all his sponsors
the fishing
on it.
one, though, with all
it's
the
got all the
sponsors.
sponsors. But we're nice and big on there.
You got to get that. Brad, and so no flyer this week.
No flyer.
Because you guys are kind of in that transition time right now.
Yep.
So when are we going to get the flyer back?
There will be another one, I believe, next week.
Is it next
yes,
week?
Yes, it'll kick off on Friday. Valentine's. It's our Valentine's ad.
What's your Valentine's flyer?
Yep. Something.
Candy Cove.
Love the day. Chocolate. Probably some beef jerky.
Jerky. Oh, yeah. Jerky
Power
Monday
tools.
comes back next week.
Yep.
Jerky and power tools. What could go wrong with Valentine's Day? Sign me up. Braddock over at Runnings. Make sure you stop in Bismarck Runnings, 701 South Washington. Not that the other stores aren't okay, but we got the cool one in Bismarck, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. And they're all way cooler than Dickinson. Sorry.
Which is all right.
You're tuned to Talk of the Town on Super Talk 1270.
NHL hockey action with the Minnesota Wild. Follow the Wild all season long on Super Talk 1270 and the free Super Talk 1270 app. Talk of the Town, weekday mornings starting at 9 on Super Talk 1270 and the free Super Talk 1270 mobile app.
KLXX AM, Mandan, Bismarck, a Town Square media station, broadcasting from the View Community Credit Union studio.
Hey guys, time to get in on the action for the biggest moments in basketball with Prize Picks, America's #1 fantasy sports app. Just select 2 or more players, pick more or less on their projections, place your entry, and win up to 100 times your money. Right now, Prize Picks will match your first deposit of up to $100. Just download the Prize Picks app and use the code GET100. That's code GET100 on Prize Picks for a first deposit match of up to $100. Prize Picks. Pick more. Pick less. It's that easy.